great gym to do this, so we're gonna have this mat obviously out here. Robin's gonna start first. Her section will be the longest. She's gonna go over stunting and tumbling, starting from the beginning and working her way up. She's got a stunt group here from Westville. Hey, stunt group, wave! And we're so glad they're here because it's easier to understand when you can watch. So Robin will do the first group. Then we're gonna rotate. Nicole is gonna speak about books and what needs to be in your books. Then we're gonna have a little choreography section and a section on scoring and rules too. We'll get a little break sometime in there, but the first section will be probably about an hour. So you'll just stay in your seats, you can watch from there, and at the end we can ask questions. Now, I just want to introduce my board. Not everybody's here today. These ladies are wonderful for volunteering their time. Jane is on the end. Robin with a Y is right there. New to our board is Destiny. And new to our board is Angie. And new to our board is Kelly. So they're now on our cheer board too. So I'll make sure you have their email so you can reach out to them if you need anything as well. And this is Nicole, who you know does all of our books and all of our paperwork. Over at the table, Christy and Kim will take care of your registration today. So we'd like to get started with Robin out here first.
All right, here we go.
You need the microphone. I know you need it.
I hate the microphone. Okay. We're going to start first with tumbling, and we're going to talk about limited level 1, because that's the new thing. These are your babies. These are the ones that can only practice 2 hours total throughout the week and have very big restrictions. So make sure you're looking at that section in your rule book. Also, some of the limited level 1 rules cannot be done with the babies. They still have to be on 2 legs. So if it says a knee stand liberty, you can't do that. So I'm going to start with just showing you the tumbling for limited level 1. So you can come to the center, because Bill likes it on the camera. Good, there we go, perfect. So you can do your forward roll for limited level 1. You can do a backward roll for limited level 1. You can do a cartwheel. A round off. Who's round off?
Go, Mija.
You can do a handstand. And you can do a handstand forward roll. That's limited level 1. That goes for all tiny mites. Tiny mites are now limited level 1. You can't do one-handed cartwheels. Both hands have to be on the ground. For limited level 1, other things that you can't do that you're able to do in regular level 1, a handstand bridge. So like a front walkover, but stop in the... You can do that in level 1, but you can't do it in limited level 1. From the ground to a bridge. You can do these, but they have to come down the same way they went up in limited level 1. They can push up, and then they can come right back down. They cannot kick over. They cannot do any of that in limited level 1. Okay? Let's move on to regular level 1. Tumbling. So you can do all the things we've already showed you. Plus, in regular level 1, you can do back limbers. And then they come back up. There we go. You can do a front walkover. Or a back walkover. And you can't do, let me see, let me make sure I'm not lying. I thought that you could do a one-handed cartwheel. Yes, I think, yes, a one-handed cartwheel. Fia's favorite thing. Okay, so those are your level 1 tumbling stuff. Level 2. You can do all of those things, plus you can do front handspring, back handspring. Do your best at a front handspring. We usually move backwards. Front handspring or back handspring. So you can do a single one, but you cannot do a double back handspring, 2 in a row, standing. You cannot stand and push 2 back handsprings. That is illegal at level 2. You can do a round off back handspring, but it can only be one. Okay, so you can connect that way, but you cannot do 2 or 3 back handsprings in a row at level 2. You can do round off 1 back handspring. Okay, is anybody here planning to go level 3? Okay, so as a reminder for level 3, one of us from the board has to come and make sure that you are hitting all of your progression sheets and that the most of your team can do these skills in order to go level 3. So level 3, you can do. Did you not give me a little? There it is. Okay. You can do round up back handspring series. You do as many as you want on level 3. You can do round off back tuck.
Nice.
You cannot do standing back tucks. Aerial. You can do an aerial at level 3. You can do a front tuck. I don't know that we have one of these to show. It's not as pretty. You can do a front tuck. But let me look. Let me make sure I'm telling you right. I read this 3 times and I don't want to be wrong. So you can do a front tuck first and then do a round up back handspring. But you can't just run into a front tuck and like step out into it. You can't do that. You can run I'm just making sure here. Also, when you do round up back tuck, the back tuck has to be your last skill. You can't do round up back handspring, back tuck, and then another back handspring. That is illegal. Okay? Even though you can do all of those skills, it's the order in which they are placed. So some of that stuff is a little bit different and weird. All right. We are going to go back, and now does anybody have any tumbling questions or anything that they don't know what it is and would like to see it? I don't know that I have it, but if I do, I'm happy to show you. Good? Perfect. We're going to go back down to limited level 1. We're going to go through stunting. Okay, so we are going to start 2-legged stunts. We're going to do a knee stand. When you're doing a knee stand in limited level 1, they still need to step up, lap around, grab hands, and to get down, we grab hands and we do a step off from the front. Okay? I just want to make sure that I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to here. Limited level 1, we can't do one legs on knees. So thigh stand. And at limited level 1, you have to have a back spot. Okay? You have to have a back spot at limited level 1. Go ahead and step down. There you go. Okay, we're gonna move. I want you to go into a smush for me and just hold the smush. In limited level 1, you can do this but you cannot walk towards Emily. You cannot move while anyone is in the air at any point in time. You cannot use a transition. Go ahead and put her down. Okay? At limited level 1, you cannot move. There's no movement once a flyer or anyone is in the air. Everything is there. It has to stay there. Okay? Let's see. Go ahead and do a prep. Okay, at limited level 1, you can do a prep. Go ahead and hitch. You can hitch. Come back in. But you cannot cradle. You can smush or bump down. Okay, you can back up in a prep. We're going to get down a different way. You can shove wrap, hands up. Okay, you can shove wrap. And you can step off. It says you can step off, but it's a little high for stepping off in my opinion. I don't think that that is safe. You can do, stand from here, at the hips. I'm not sure what we actually call that. You can do, it's like in between a prep and a thigh, when you hold it there. As long as you're on 2 legs in limited level 1, okay? Getting down is fun. Bump down. It's kind of awkward because you can't grab hands to come down like you would out of a thigh stand, but you can bump down. Sometimes bumping down is harder. Yes?
Can they bump down from the prep?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's see, make sure I have such a good picture. See what makes sense. Oh. You can do lib at a knee stand. So at the knee stand level, way down here, they can do a liberty just on 1 leg. You only need 1 base. Okay, you can go, that's the only 1-legged stunt you can do at that level. Any higher than that, you cannot do at limited level 1. Go ahead and come down. All tiny mites, as a reminder, are limited level 1 now. Okay? Any questions about limited level 1? Yeah.
I have a tumbling question for Lynn.
Okay.
Can they do running roundoffs?
Yes. Okay. You can do a round off. You can run into a round off. Yes. No. No. Tiny mites are now all limited level 1. You cannot choose regular level 1 any longer for tiny mites. All tinies are limited level 1 now. Okay. Yes. No. Regular tiny mites can have your normal practice time. They just have to be in the level of limited level 1. So they just can do these stunts and these tumbling, but you can do a normal practice schedule with regular tiny mites. Limited level, the tiny babies, what is that even called?
Junior tiny mites.
Junior tiny mites have the limited 2-hour practice and all the funness, okay? All right, are we okay to move on to straight level 1? Okay, here we go. So regular level 1 stunting, let's see what's different. Let me make sure I'm not messing them up, there's so many. A lib at here. Yep. Double base. Ready, 1, 2. At the hip level, level 1, you can do libs here. You can do positions, but it's really hard not to get kicked in the face, so good luck with that. And we're going to go ahead and bump down. Sorry, we don't usually do things below a prep level, so we're a little rusty on the coming down. I apologize. You can do your regular prep that we've already done, except you can cradle. So let's go back up and a prep. can straight cradle and you can quarter turn cradle. Let's see. So all single leg stunts at level 1 have to be below prep level. So you can do it at the knee stand like you can in limited. You can do it here. That's about it on one leg, okay? Also, people are always like, well, how do I do a pyramid at level 1? So, go to a thigh stand. Frieza, touch my hand. This is a pyramid, friends. Stand on the ground. Your person on the ground can lift their leg. This is a pyramid. As long as you touch hands, you have a pyramid. Do not lose your pyramid points by not connecting. Make sure they're close enough. Put 2 littles that stand next to it that can reach it. Pyramid, okay? We have a lot of people that ask that question. Go ahead and hop down. Yes?
Are the limited levels allowed to do pyramids?
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Same way.
Same way, but you just have to follow the rules that lie within the pyramid level. So you can literally, for your pyramids at limited level 1, you could have someone stand on one leg and 2 people kneel next to them, and they can touch hands, and that can be considered a pyramid.
Okay.
At limited level 1. You can do the knee stands with 2 people next to them. Anything that looks halfway cute and they're touching hands is going to count as a pyramid at limited level 1. Okay, just make sure you're hitting those points. Don't lose out on that. Okay, they'll go over that more when you get to scoring and rules, but you don't want to lose it, and I wanted to make sure to show you. That counts for anything. If you're connected, it's a pyramid. It doesn't have to be flashy and showy. Just connect your arms. It's that easy. Okay. Let's see. Level 2. No, we're in level 1 still. Let's look. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Quarter up. So at level 1, you can go up and you get a quarter twist. This is what a quarter twist. It's a fun way. Okay, go ahead and cradle. So that's what they mean when they say quarter. So we did the quarter dismount where we turned a quarter of the way, the same thing for the way up. It'll give some variety to your stunts. There is, you can also come down, quarter down. Yes, sorry. No. No. Let me double check that I'm not reading it wrong. Yes, I am so sorry. Yes, you can. I'd rather say no and then, yes, you can be at a prep, but you have to get to prep on 2 legs, connect, and then go to 1 leg, and you have to come back to 2 legs prior to coming down. Yes. Yes. So, extended 2-legged stunts that are braced on one side only. You only have to be braced on one side now. So let's say you only have 2 stunt groups because you have 8 or you have 10 on your team. You can have 1 prep, and then you can have, they connect at prep, and then the one side can push, but then they have to come down. Okay? You're welcome. I hadn't got to the pyramids. I'm getting there now. I'm looking. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else. The same thing with single leg stunts at preps. You only have to be braced on one side. Okay? Not both. It used to be both, and it used to have to be hand and arm contact only. It still says hand and arm, but it's saying one side only is the new rule. It's in lovely red, so you only have to connect on one side now. Okay. I don't show shoulder sits as an option for limited level 1. Yeah, I would say no. I will look into it. Okay, and when we find out, we will send it out. But I don't want to tell you the wrong thing at this point. Because at a shoulder sit, you're at a prep level and you're on one base. So I'm not sure that they're kind of little to support someone's whole weight at that age with limited level 1. So that's what I'm thinking is why it's not noted in there. But I will definitely check with Waikata and let you guys know. Okay? All right, are we ready for level 2? Okay. Level 2, you can jump in and do a full extension. Cradle. And you can cradle. Okay, back up to a full. You can bump down or smush. Okay. Sometimes it's safer to bump down in the pyramid because sometimes when you cradle, if you don't cradle exactly straight, you can bump and cause deductions on your routine too, and safety-wise. But you're welcome to cradle out of whatever two-legged stuff. Prep lib. And you can cradle at level 2 from a prep. You can also back up to a lib at prep. You can do variations. You can scale. Yep, there you go. You can come back in. You can heel stretch. Okay, come back in. And you can cradle 1, 2, because it's coming down. Okay, so that's what they mean by variations or positions. Just because you're on one leg, so you can do that. You can heel stretch, you can scale, you can do like a side stretch, which I cannot do. So at least one base has to maintain with your flyer at all times, okay? So they're starting to let you do, like for your transition. So you want to jump in to a smush. And you can show and go. Oh, this was so cool, sorry. Woo! Okay, so you can do some of those items. You can also move in a smush at regular level 1 and at level 2. So hop up in a smush with Sophie. Take a walk. You can move any direction. You can move sideways. You can move forward. You can move backward towards Josh. There we go. Okay? You can move. So go ahead and come down. There you go. Sometimes you'll want to, in your pyramid, you'll want to pop one group up, and it's easier to move them that way to their next spot and come back. So that is legal. It is not legal in limited level 1. You can't move at all. You can do that in regular level 1 and in level 2. Yes. Okay. Yes, you can move in level 1 in a smush or below. No, I do not believe so. Jane, can you look just to be safe? I know. Yes.
So for limited level 1, if you're in a knee stand, can you do any variations or just the lid?
You can do variations.
You can.
As long as you're only in a knee stand, nothing higher than a knee stand at limited level 1. Okay, we're going to do a step up full. So this is a stepping stone transition. So you can do that because they never leave the actual foot, but it gives you a different visual. Okay, so that's what they kind of mean by stepping stones. You can step all the way up from a thigh stand if you'd like. And you can move that way to get in. Yes?
Are we able to move at prep steps for level 2?
Yes.
And put it single legged?
I don't think you can move at a single leg while you're here. You have to be on 2 legs to move. Let's do a half up. Ella. Sorry, they call it different stuff at home. Level 2, just go to the back, please. So you can get up that way. That can be your twisting. Yes.
So level 1, they can move while in the load in during a quarter transition and once the building of a stunt is completed. So not like a moving show and go.
Okay, so right here, you guys are gonna walk one way or the other. You can do this in level 1, regular level 1 or level 2. Okay, stop. Smush. When they say like turns or twist a half by the flyer and or bases, that's what we just did here. The flyer made the half twist. Okay. Some of it'll say combined a quarter or 3/4 combined with bases movement. They try to make it really wordy. Pretty much you can only turn halfway around at level 2 for anything. Nothing can go full.
And they add together. So if the bases turn and the
Yep,
flyer turns,
everything.
that comes a half.
Yes, half total. You can spin in a circle after you're actually set and built. If you want to do a, you can turn once it's up, but not while they're going up. Does that make sense to you? No. Let me look at the pyramids just to make sure I'm not telling you wrong, because that's in a different. I'm just on straight stunts, so I'm trying to work my way down. All right, we're gonna go to some dismounts here because this is part of the lovely twisting and straight stunts. Okay, so you guys can do a straight Superman at level 2. Let's go. So it's called the Superman because the back spot, turn to the side, please. Yeah. Because the back spot never loses contact with them. That's why this is legal. Superman. Okay? Because they never lose contact, so she's never free falling into a prone cradle. Some people are like, but that is a prone cradle. It's not because everybody doesn't release. It would be illegal. We're going to do it again, and this time you're going to pull the nose out. From the side. See how he let go? And it hurts. You cannot let go until she's fully caught. We have had people that'll let go with one arm. You still can't. You have to maintain contact. One base has to have contact with the flyer at all times. It's so much fun when you slam. All right, let's see here. You can do a full lib at level 2 if you're connected prior to going up. So you would go to a prep, connect on the side, one side only, and then they can push up. Okay, but they have to be connected at all times. From below prep level before they hit that top. Go ahead and J-toss. This is another way to get up. It's called a toss, but it's not a toss. Because the main base never leaves contact with them, so that's what makes it legal. J-down. You can come down that way too. Variation of a bump down gives you something different visual. Sometimes it's fun to come down. Let's quarter down. Quarter up to quarter down. So just like in level 1, you can do a quarter turn. And you can also come down with a quarter turn. I have never had them do that, so that was a pretty good one. I thought it might go south real quick. All right, let's see. Inversions. Let's look at this. Inversions is a country to inverted upright broken. Okay, we're gonna do a handstand in to a low. Arm bar. Arm bar. From the side. Other side. Okay. Back arm. Back arm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And back up for your hands go here. Over the arm. And down there, Josh.
Yeah.
What are you doing? That is what not to do as the back spot. Being a lazy, lovely lazy. All right, cradle 1, 2. I never do those at high school because they think they are very ugly. However, in Pop Warner, that is the only way to get your inversion points. You have to get in with the arm. We're gonna try it again. So, do you know what you're doing now? All right, let's go.
Let Melanie do it.
You're gonna go here
No.
and then
Melanie,
yep.
come help.
Get over here.
You're not doing that with your leg. Miha.
She missed the armbar, is why it happened. But that is why they only allow inversions to a certain point, because when she comes down, she doesn't get hurt because she had her own hand supporting herself. So that's what they mean when they say the flyer has to have remain contact with the performance floor.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So in middle school I did a stunt similar to that where the flyer would actually do the handstand like over the back spot.
Yeah, that is not legal because it has to be in a smush or lower at level 2. You cannot go to shoulder sit. We did have people do that, and they are illegal because it's too high. It has to be in a, it's a 5-point reduction because it's a safety rule.
Yeah, or not even to the shoulder sit, but they would pop it down because it's like
Because then there's no spotter. So if you're going over the back spot, who is there for that head when they miss like that? That's why that rule is there. So you have to come from the side with your back spot, and you have to grab that arm, and you have to lift that way. Versus coming over the shoulders, you cannot go to a shoulder sit. Okay, we pointed that one. F. Okay, moving on. We're gonna do a moving showing though. So what they mean is you can move for a transition. Okay, that works. Okay, so you can move with your transitions as long as you're on 2 legs that way. I'm looking at anything new that is different. Okay, we are going to do basket. So at level 2, you can throw a basket unless you are a Mighty Mite. Mighty Mites are not allowed to do tosses. You can cradle, but you can't toss. So Mighty Mites are no. Junior Pee-wee and above may do this. Straight right.
Ugh.
I know, ugly one. No height. And it's okay, a lot of them do look like that. And you must be on a mat. You can't do these at a game if you do not have a mat. Because you could get in big trouble.
Or a parade.
Yeah, and you could hurt someone. Let's see. So no positions, just straight up, straight down at level 2. You can do one trick skills at level 3. So in a basket at level 3, you can do a toe touch if you can throw it.
There.
Okay? That's your
Redeem.
level 3.
You're redeemed.
No.
You can do one
You,
trick.
you can arch and you can toe touch. The arch is not considered a skill. But make sure when you arch, you don't throw the head. If you throw the head, it's illegal. And they will get you. And I think that's a 5-point safety because it's the head. Anything that involves the head will get you 5 points, like nothing. Yep, you can arch as long as that head doesn't drop. So you can arch, but you need to make sure you have your flyers practice chin to chest. Because if that head drops, then you're illegal. Is there anything anybody would like to see at level 2?
Do the one trick. They can do a one trick cradle though for level 2.
Oh yes, from a crack, toe touch cradle. Okay, you can do those at prep level, but not full level. I don't think you can. You can half twist transition from a cradle to a prone. So you can barrel roll.
They can remember the one we did where they
I'm just double checking that I'm
in
right.
the spring routine for platinum where you turn did the half.
No, because it says cradles are limited to straight, quarter turn, or single trick non-twisting cradles on your dismounts. Okay? Swedish falls, you can half twist out of that because you're on your belly and you're pushed here for a Swedish fall, so you can twist a half to cradle from Swedish falls. That's the only way you can half twist cradle. Yes? Okay, yes, which is still at the same height level though. So if you think about it, your waist level and your smush level are about the same, but you can stop in like a waist. Yes, you can stop at waist, but you have to make sure that you're not up here too high, because they literally consider waist at the hip bones. If you're higher than that hip bone, they will dock you, because then you're illegal. So you just have to make sure that when they stop at that skill, they truly stop. Because sometimes at a smush, when you come over, you're higher, but it's still a smush, so it's fine, because it's still a smush. It doesn't say what height of the smush. But when you move into a stunt from that, at that hip level or below, if they are above that, they will dock you. Okay, so just make sure you're in those guidelines. But yes, that is legal. It's a smush and a dip and an up. I don't think you'd be able to even press it if you wanted to, but if you want to, you can, but they have to hit the smush first, legs have to be bent, and then you can ride up. Any other level 2 questions? I know we're missing some. There's a lot of different things.
Can you Superman from a pool?
No. I'm pretty sure that's no unless it's in red, because
No.
it's been no forever. Because for a while they weren't even allowing level 3 to do that. Okay, so some level 3 stuff are you can do a ground up lib. We'll see if it hits or not. Are you lifting now? positions, go ahead and hit a scale. Cradle, 1, 2. Okay, that's level 3. You can do that in level 2 if you're connected prior to going to the prep. So in a pyramid, you can have prep on the side, grabbing hands where you're fully connected, and then you can go ground up, as long as your hand-to-hand contact is from the ground up. If she lets go for any reason anywhere along the way, if she decides she wants to re-grip and lets go with both hands, you're illegal. Okay, so just drill it into your kid's head that they can't do that. But you can in your pyramid, grab on and go ground up as long as you're connected prior. Okay? Twist cradle. Either way. That's level 3. You can do it from a prep, you can do it from a full. Let's do prep log roll. They don't consider that a release move. They call it, sometimes they call it just a barrel roll. So that's kind of a release. You can add that onto any cradle at level 3. Catch and pop and throw it. It'll give you, it's like on that score sheet, lovely, it gives you a little bump, okay? You can, at level 2 for the barrel roll, I think you can only half twist. I think you can barrel roll from a prep at level 2, but not from a full. I will double check that one and get back to you. Okay? I just don't want to tell you the wrong thing, but as I'm reading it, it says you can, but there's different rules from 2 to 3. Is there any questions on level 2, level 3? Is there a stunting question? Is there tumbling questions? Yes?
At level 2, can you barrel roll to like reset?
So at level 2, yes, you can barrel roll and then go to a smush. Is that what you're asking? To reset? Yes. But you have to re-catch and you have to bounce in between so that they know it's a transition. So let's do that. Let's just cradle and then reload. So when they talk about transitions and reloading, so we're here, you just caught your cradle and then you can dip and pop, okay? Because technically you lose contact, but they don't count that. Anybody else? No. Yes. Would you like to see one? Do it. Go. Let me look at level 3, because I think you can Baja. Yes, at level 3. They can be freestanding at level 3 at a prep level to TikTok. You can do a fake TikTok at level 2. So, you guys, I know you've never done this. Fake TikTok, you're gonna go up to a prep here. You're gonna hold on to that one the whole time, and she's gonna step over and go the other way. Don't let go of her. Stand up. Stand up. come over like you're in a lib, and then you're gonna switch back to the other leg quickly. You can do it a lot faster as long as they don't lose contact. That's not something we do. Sorry.
At level 2, you said?
Yes. So you can be in your lib as long, and your other base holds, grabs that foot, and they can jump as long as they're holding the feet the whole time. So it's like a quick switch.
Prep level.
Prep level. Fake TikTok. Can't do a real TikTok. You can't totally release and jump down. Everybody good? You want to see a Baja? I can't find it in my rule book, but I saw it earlier. But this paper's a lot bigger by the time you get to level 3 and the words are smaller. Yeah, are you doing it from a smush or do it from prep? Okay. So that's your Baja. That's level 3 and up. But I can't.
But not in the pyramid.
Yes. Yes, you can do a full up at level 3 to a prep. You can't go higher and you can't release up here. Nope, you can't. we were at cheer camp this week and we are sore and it's not something we have worked on a lot, so I want to keep my athletes safe.
No.
No, you can't twist, but you can, can you, Pam?
You can't do that in a pyramid.
You cannot flip connected in a pyramid like that. You have to be on your own people. Own people only. So you'll see a lot of high school, they'll grab and they'll flip and they'll twist and they'll do that stuff. It's not legal at level 3, not to level 4, and some of it still isn't legal. You can do, at level 3, you can do a twist, cradle, catch, barrel roll. You have to be, you can twist out of your preps, libs at level 3. You cannot twist out of a full lib at level 3. I think that's all that I have, unless you guys have any questions. If you think of something at the end, we'll ask again. If you think of something as you're looking through stuff, we will help you. Robin, would you like to have a break now? Or do you have something she's not listening to? Hi! All right. Hi.
Thank you. I need just a couple of you, before you take a break and come back. I need North Lake's t-shirt sizes for the kids.
I got North Lake.
For the kids?
No, not today.
T-shirt sizes for the kids. I need to see Knox cheer coordinator about your t-shirt sizes. And Chesterton, we got that sorted out. So those towns, just make sure you swing over there. If you need to take a restroom break or whatever, come back in 10 minutes.
Jane, for book check day, are you on cheer or can I have you for football?
Robin usually makes that choice depending on who's all there.
I lose you, Kim, and Felicia, right? I usually lose you, Kim, and Felicia.
I'll be there the whole day.
I know, but I mean you're on the cheer side, usually.
The last 2 years, I think. Yeah? I don't know. It's usually a blur. But I'll just help wherever. She has new people though, so maybe she can say she doesn't
can go over it so everybody doesn't have to take the time to go through it. If you are gonna have dance as a secondary, make sure, or if you're gonna do sideline as a secondary, I did talk to Millie, make sure that it is your whole team. So you can't say, well, 7 of the girls want to dance and the other ones don't. If you're gonna do a second routine, make sure that it's your whole team that's doing the second routine. All right, it used to be a little bit different. The dance-specific rules are very short. It's only like 3 pages in the rule book, so I'll be happy to go over it with you, kind of go over any questions you have. So once we get started, who's going to be the dance coach from Report? We can swing out there and we can go over it, okay? All right. Next thing on the list, Nicole Schultz is going to come out and go over some paperwork, housekeeping items for the book. Super important. So make sure that you have all this. If you have questions, just go ahead and ask her today.
Hi there. You'll have to bear with me. I don't talk well in front of people, which is why I stand on the sidelines and hold up a wall. Head coach declaration sheets. Your cheer coordinators did not get those in the books that we gave out. Robin will get a hold of those and give them to you. Every one of you who's a head coach has to fill it out. It has to go in your book. They have to be in the book by September 3rd. No, that's music, never mind. Head coach needs to go in there by August. So when I see your books on August 21st, your head coach declaration page needs to be in there behind your roster. Okay? Behind the head declaration should be your progression sheets. Every team needs them. Even if you got a 3-4-year-old team, they have to have progression sheets. Put the girl's name on them, fill them out as they learn to do their stuff. Cartwheel, somersault, whatever they're learning. Your entire team cannot learn a cartwheel on August 1st. It has to be like as the girl learns it. Okay? If you come into book check and your entire team learned everything they need to know for this season all in the same day, we're gonna call you on it because it's a safety concern. They can't do that. Robin's very particular about that. So make sure you have them on the days that they learn them. Make sense? Yes, ma'am. Robin, they came in already knowing the skill. How do you want them to put that on the progression sheet?
When you're allowed to start practicing, when you have your air conditioning or whatever, whenever you're allowed to do that skill and they get that skill, go ahead and mark it down on that date.
So you have to witness
Mark it down
it.
like they had 3 years ago. Mark it down on the date of the season.
So if they come in knowing how to do a cartwheel, have them demonstrate it, mark it on that sheet. Make sense? There was someone else with a hand up.
After conditioning.
Huh?
After the conditioning hour.
After the conditioning, yes. Music. You're good. Using music, everyone has to use music, right? Okay. Those have to go in your book by September 3rd, because I know a lot of you don't even pick up music or figure out that routine till later. September 3rd, those music licenses have to be in the book. There's new rules this year. I have to have a physical copy of that music license. So whatever license you're putting in your book, make copies of it. If you've got 4 teams, I need 4 copies of each of those music, because then I have to give them to Bill, and Bill has to have them. It's a new law. It's a new rule. Law, yeah. No, declaration's not till September 3rd. I need your head coach declaration. So it's just a piece of paper that says who your head coach is and that they're agreeing to do that. That needs to be in there by August. Yeah, you don't have to declare what your team is or whatever till September 3rd. So you should have your roster, then your head coach declaration, your music, and your progression sheets. Make sense? I'm telling all of the coaches so that they can help their coordinators, because your coordinators got a lot going on and they're going in all kinds of directions. So if you guys as coaches know what needs to go in that book, that helps her and it helps the business manager and it makes them run smoothly. And because I've got you all here on the 20th of August, when you come in for your pictures, you need to have all 4 of your certifications. I get lots of coaches that walk up to that table and they're like, we didn't know. So I'm telling you all today. All 4 certifications, Mid-America, Waikata, your concussion, and your hands-on. We have to see all 4 of them. Your Waikata certificate has to be done every year now. It's not in every 2. So every one of you need a new Waikata in your books. Your Waikata certificate also has to get uploaded into the Affinity software. So your business manager is going to be coming to you guys. So know where they're at. Make sure your cheer director's got multiple copies. So if one gets lost, you're not trying to, spaz out on the 20th to get, service on the middle of the fairgrounds to get it to pull up. Make sense? Pictures. All cheerleaders and dancers have to have a picture uploaded into Affinity. That's a new thing this year. Your cheer directors are working on it. It just needs to be a headshot from the shoulders up. So if she comes around and says, I gotta take pictures of your team, give her that 5 or 10 minutes to get those pictures done because they've gotta go into the system, okay? She's not there to interrupt practice, she's there for a reason. I think that's everything. Any questions from your guys' point? Your cheer directors probably know more than you guys, so. All good? All right. You good?
Okay, Kelly and Destiny have a handout that is going to go along with everything that they're saying that you're welcome to take. Do you want them to follow along or take it home with them? Is it a follow along? Yep. Yep. Yeah. So we'll give you that handout. We'll kind of just pass it that way. Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm just. So if you guys want to head out there.
Hi everybody, I'm Kelly Ellis. I'm the director at Valpo, and
I'm Destiny Yannick, and I'm the director at Highland. Okay, so we're doing our section on choreography, just giving some tips and tricks. Choreography is the overall look, presentation, and build of the routine. So this consists of your jumps, your stunts, your pyramids, your tumbling, and your dance, as well as transitions. This also includes the sharpness of motions. I know all of my Highland coaches know that I am crazy about motions. And then as well as your showmanship and attitude of the routine.
so the reason why choreography gets its own section is because it is the gift that keeps giving through a routine. It's not just one section like pyramid, it's something that you will be scored on in every single section. Part of it is subjective, part of it is what you do the judges like it, don't they like it? But there are certain things that they're looking for that we can all do. The sharpness of motion. Your kids, I think a lot of us get this on our score sheet, that at the end, they lose their focus, they lose their momentum, they lose their energy. That's when they have to really start amping up, is when they get tired. So we can train them to do that now. Their execution of what they do, which means you can max out your difficulty, let's say jumps. You can max out on your difficulty and get a good score there, but if the jumps are sloppy, if they're not in sync, if you've got people that don't have the right formation in their jumps, then you're gonna get a low score there, and it's also gonna ding you in choreography. So it's not just its own section. The Waikata, as directors, we all got the updated Waikata book. You should have gotten that, or you can get that from your director, but there's a cheat sheet in there that says exactly what level you are and how many players you have on your team and what the number is you have to do. So example would be anybody other than Tinies and Mighties. If you have 16 players on your team, you have to do 3 basket tosses. You don't have to do them at the same time. They can be put in there, but you have to do 3, and that cheat sheet's gonna tell you. So if you're new to coaching and you're panicking over all the information you're getting, it's all in that Waikata cheat sheet. So make sure you get that. Oh, there's also, sorry about that. Also on that worksheet, we put together a basic 8 count for each section. That does not include transitions, and transitions are those things that your girls and boys are gonna do going from one section to the other. That's where it gets tricky. That's kind of that's the part of choreography that we all forget about, is how are they gonna move from jumps to pyramid, or how are they gonna move from tumbling to dance, or however what order you wanna do it in. There is no mandatory order that you put your routine together, but I would tell you, and I think Destiny definitely agrees with that, you wanna put the dance last. They're tired. 2 minutes and 30 seconds of flat out on it, they're tired by the end, and the dance has the least chance of any kind of violation. If you put your pyramid at the end, they might be so tired they drop. And that's a 5-point deduction. The one thing I will tell you though is that this does not include those transitions we talked about. That would be a 1 to 2 8-count transition. So when you're looking at your music and you're trying to figure out, okay, how is this gonna all work together, and you wanna do transitions, you need to think about that. You need to think about how they're gonna move from each section to the other in order for that to happen.
Okay, so just touching on basket tosses again real quick. Reminder that level 1 cannot do basket tosses, and level 2 Mighty Mites cannot do basket tosses. But level 2 Junior Pee-wee and up, basket tosses are required. One of the suggestions we have is that they should be 2 to 3 8-counts, and then make sure to keep room in your routine for that. Also a reminder, you have to have a mat if you're practicing or at games. So for jumps, it is 50% plus 1. So if you have 10 individuals on your team, then you need 6 people to max out that jump difficulty score. So one of the suggestions is if you have 6 great jumpers, keep that execution score high to showcase your best jumpers and not risk that execution score. Yes, if you have your jumps, do them once. They only count once. So if you're level 1, do your jumps, or even level 2, do the jumps, and then unless absolutely necessary, don't do them again in the routine, because again, you're risking your execution score. Then for tumbling, you need 25%, and with tumbling, it's cumulative. So if you have one athlete that can perform the highest level of tumbling allowed in your level, have them do it. So again, keeping with the 10 example, since that's easiest, if they do it 4 times, if they do it 3 times, then you are safe. Of course, that'll bring you into the high range. So for tumbling, it's 5. That'll bring you towards the 4. The more you have that can do it at the same time will get you closer to that 5 range.
Yeah, so basically what you need to remember is when you're looking at your choreography, you need to study what the requirements are. If you've got a group that are great at jumps, they can do a toe touch like a pro, then you can add that in and be okay. But if you've got a group that can't jump to save their lives, they jump once and you're done, because it will affect your score. One of the things that we look at on our team is if our choreography score, because it's out of 10, is in the 8 to 10 range, then we're pretty good. And if it's that way between different competitions, then you're good. If you're 8 and below between competitions, then you're doing something wrong. You need to look at arms, you need to look at cleanliness, you need to look at transitioning. Are they doing it the right way? And there's a lot of things that I don't think that we think about, the simple transitions that I know that when we watch them, we're like, oh, so one of them is the nugget. And you can transition in a nugget, and we're going to show you the right way and the wrong way. When you do it the wrong way, we call it a stomach ache, because it looks like the kid's got a stomach ache. And if you do it the right way, then it looks good. So I get to be your okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to demonstrate the wrong way to nugget first. So notice her head is up, her back is arched, and doesn't really know what to do with her arms, so it looks awkward. But now we're going to demonstrate the correct way to nugget, or at least the more cleanly way.
Now, remember, I'm old. My back doesn't go as flat as it used to.
Notice her chin is tucked in, and her back is as flat as can be. It's her birthday. So we can just say happy birthday to her real quick. So yes, those are just some tips and tricks for the nugget. Obviously, there are so many other ways to transition, but when in doubt and you're trying to keep it clean, the nugget is a good go-to for a last resort.
Yeah, the walking clean thing too.
The other one is the walking clean. These are the ones that judges see a lot, and these 2 are the ones that they really will get you on if you don't do it right. So, do you want to do it wrong? Okay. So the wrong way, and you'll see this a lot, for walking clean is the soldier style. You know, they walk by and they go like that. That's wrong. You're gonna get scores off in your execution. They're gonna drop your choreography scores. So if you've got a group of kids that really can't jump, they really can't tumble, and you wanna move them, or if you just have a 1-8 count to move them, and you're gonna nugget or walk clean, don't do that. This is what it should look like. The legs, they go wide-legged, their hands stay in one position like they're glued to the hip, but yet they've got a little bounce in it. They're smiling at the judges because that's all choreography. We've had years where the judges will look at us and say, that's a great routine, but they looked miserable. And so you start training them in conditioning that while they're running, they need to smile. Everybody smile, or you're gonna do another lap. No, that's me. But that's the kind of stuff that they're looking for. So if you're gonna do simple transitions, make sure they do it right because they're watching. The other thing you need to do in choreography, this happens a lot too, regardless of your size of team. When you're a large team, it's pretty easy to use the whole entire mat. When you're a smaller team, you tend to just kind of stay right here. That's a low choreography score. If you've got groups that are going from one end to there, to here, back out, up, down, everywhere, you're gonna get a higher score. Use the whole entire mat regardless of your size. So when you're looking at your mat, you're looking at your routine, if you're planning to do jumps here, walk back to the pyramid, go to here to tumbling, you're gonna get a really, really low score. You need to move them around, regardless of numbers. Anything else about that? Oh, yeah.
So we'll just wrap up with stunting real quick. I know we had a lot on stunting and we'll have even more after this, but stunting is also part of your choreography, making sure you have the creativity. The one thing that we can't stress enough is knowing your level rules. Making sure that you are checking with Waikata, that you are checking that score sheet. I mean, they give you everything you need to know, what is allowed, what isn't allowed. If you do something out of your level, it's 5 points off. And that's the difference between first and last. So just make sure, if you are unsure, send it to your coordinator or send it to Waikata. You can send it to anybody on the board too. And keeping that creativity and keeping your top girl facial expressions. Yes.
I do have a question. So if we have, is it better or worse to kind of have two main things happening at once? So if we have like, for Tiny Mites, if we have one group in the prep in the center and we have another group in front of them doing our toe touches, should we not do that at the same time?
If you can keep it clean, then, so the more you have, the easier it is to get messy, but if you can keep it clean, then the judges want to see different levels and different things going on at different times.
Okay.
Yeah. What we say is if you can't do it well, don't do it. Right. That's the biggest thing. Just because you want them to be able to do it doesn't mean that they can. And that's also where those progression sheets are important. When you're in conditioning, once you're done with the hours and you can tumble, and then you're done with the hours and you can stunt, you really need to look at what your kids are doing. I know you're sitting here going, we're gonna be level 2 or we're gonna be level 3. The reality is, in Pop Warner, you might have a whole brand new team the next year. And you really need to look at what they can do and not what you hope they can do to decide your level. That's really important. And then know what is appropriate for your level, because we always talk about a plan A and a plan B. Plan A is we're gonna do this, but then we already know in our head if they can't do it, we'll try it. If they can't, here's how we're adapting it to go to plan B. But if they can't do it well, don't do it, because you'll lose your points.
Any other questions? That was a good question.
All right, good luck. Get creative. All right, Robin, we're done.
Is Jane, where's Jane at? Oh, Jane, you're up next.
Get him, Tiger.
She likes to talk too.
Yours will be long. Yours is always long. Lots of good stuff. You got plenty of time.
Okay,
I am going to cover a little bit of what Kelly and Destiny just went over, but talking about it from a rules perspective a little more. There are a couple things that I want to stress this year because they've been problems in the past, last year, and sometimes years before. One new thing that some of you will like is that although we still can't do formal entrances, you can't do a choreographed entrance onto the performance floor, and we can't do a choreographed exit. They are allowing this year for you to have like a 4 count to set, to kind of cue your girls that this is what happens. If you've done All-Star, it's a lot more prevalent, All-Star, for them to come out to their spot, 4 or 5, do 5, 6, 7, 8 pops, and then they set in whatever their starting position is. So they are allowing you now to do that and not have the clock start. In the past, as soon as one of your cheerleaders would have opened their mouths, your clock would have started. So you have a 4 count plus like a, Wolves or, Vikings. You can do that and then go into the routine, okay? Which is nice for timing for some of the kids, especially if you start with the music right away. It gives them a sense that, okay, we're ready, so that they can hit that first note. A couple other things that we had a lot of issues with at last year's competition were props for cheer, okay? Signs. When you have your team setting the signs, and they need to do it, coaches do not do it, they need to set it on the performance floor. So it needs to be at the edge. If they go off to get that, or they pick it up and it's set up off the performance floor, it's going to be a boundary violation. Okay. Also, I really suggest, and I think the others would agree, have them as part of whatever the transition is after that stunt or after using those signs. Take them and place them somewhere. We have had multiple years where the flyer whipped it out and it almost hit the judges. So I really am suggesting that you have that worked into your choreography, how they're gonna get rid of that pom or their signs ahead of time. All right, because if you let, as we all know, teenagers or youngers do things, they're just gonna flip that stuff wherever, and somebody's gonna get cut from that corrugated sign. Also, they don't sometimes get them far enough. Then they're stepping on them, or almost stepping on them, or tumbling on them. And that becomes a safety violation. Those are 5-point deductions, each occurrence. Right? As a complete side note to this, y'all, if you're gonna use those extensions or weaves, secure that shizza in. There is nothing worse than seeing a muskrat dead on that cheer floor, and then some kid almost tumbles on it, right? Okay? Check them. Don't take their word for it. Go in there, make sure that stuff is in, okay? Same thing, ladies, if you go in and you get your braids done or you get special competition hair, no beads or jewelry on the braids. I tell you this because last year, and I even know this, but my daughter did blonde braids and she had gold jewels and beads on them, so they just blended in, and we were, the night before or at competition, frantically trying to get all the beads out of her braids before she went out there. So, beads, jewelry on the braids, not for competition, okay? You want to tell your mamas that before they go spend $150, $200 getting that hair braided with that stuff in it, okay? So make sure you communicate that to your parents. Jewelry. I saw a team, where's Marcos? What did that one team had? How many deductions for, I want to say it was 12 points worth of deductions?
Yes,
12 points of deductions because their team had jewelry on. So check them for jewelry ahead of time. rings.
Belly is the worst.
Rings. And the best way, ladies and gents, to get them is that needs to be a rule that you are consistently following at practice. They need to know that cheer time means certain things, right? It means if they have glasses, make them get that safety strap early so that they are not at competition. I don't like this, it hurts, because they're gonna do it, right? You know they are. Make them practice with it ahead of time. Also, you don't want a mad mama coming in because the $500 pair of glasses got stepped on when they fell off and they were tumbling. Right, Miha? So get those early. So just then they get in the routine, right? Just like muscle memory. They know when they come in to practice, no jewelry, safety glasses, hair up, right? That should just be standard as part of your practice protocol. Also saves you from having to look for her, scrunchies and ponytail holders at practice. Oh, this is another one that gets, in high school, they can build a stunt with a sign or the palms in their hand. In Pop Warner, they cannot, okay? The sign has to be handed up to the flyer once the stunt is completed and steady, all right? Not, they're still wobbling. Once they're up, it's solid, they can hand that up. Again, like I said, I would build that into the choreography, and then the same person who hands it up is maybe there to come back and grab it when they're done and set it somewhere out of the way. Please, please, please take a look at the cheer safety rules. These are the ones that are your 5-point deductions. You can print these out from Waikata, the resources when you take the test. Your cheer directors have them in the binder that we gave to them at the cheer directors kickoff. These are the 5-pointers and you're gonna wanna know them. Please also pay attention to the continuous back spotter section. There are certain stunts where you will get dinged for not having a continuous back spotter. Single base stunts are one of the ones where we probably see the most deductions because you need to have a continuous back spotter who's not part of that stunt. Okay. Is anyone thinking about doing single base this year? Okay. Do you want to do just an example of how to do it correctly? Yeah. Not you, Marcos, but the kids.
So you still have to have a spotter at that rate. Let's go ahead and pop down.
So here you have Emily. She's not connected to the stunt in terms of building it, but she's right there to be mobile. Right? If she steps in to help it, she's no longer a continuous back spot. She is part of the stunt.
If she were to touch that, then she's illegal. So you have to have another one.
And that's a big deduction.
You're gonna just touch straight.
Yeah, let's just try it.
Just go for it.
Oh, almost.
But that's why
They've been working on this.
Let's try it one more time.
One more time.
Oh, there you go. Close. So these poor kids, we dragged them out. They just got home from camp about 2 o'clock yesterday for 3-day camp. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna need you at 7 a.m. in the morning to do stunts solid for 3 hours. Thanks, kids. If you have questions about the single base, there's a couple of different load-in techniques that you can use that are easier than what they were trying to attempt, but they've been working really hard at getting that over the summer. So they wanted to try and show. Just send us a question or a video of what you're doing. You can do single based in level 2.
Yes, they still have
You still have to have the continuous spotter.
And in level 2, that spotter just can't stand there. That spotter has to have contact.
Yeah.
So just like in your prep, your back spot holding those ankles, he's getting out, makes them not on that, and I'm talking. So your shoulder stands in level 2, if you do any single base, your back spot has to have contact. So just like in your prep, they're holding the ankles the whole time, you have to do that when you're in the shoulder sit. No, you should be fine there. And you can't push full, that's not legal in single base at 1, 2, or even 3. On a single base, no.
You can if you keep it low.
Yeah, just not at prep level. You can do it at waist with a single. But if you're one-manning at prep level, they have to be touching in level 2. And level 3, they stand back and their hand has to be there and they have to have their focus on them, but they don't physically have to be touching. Yeah. I don't know, to be honest, on that one.
Send that one in.
I would send it in and have them look at it.
I would just say if you're going to do anything with a single base stunt, have an extra continuous back spotter there. Better safe than sorry, because we had one year it was an illegal load-in. They missed it at district and regionals. They didn't catch it until, so I would say throw one back there, then you don't have to worry about it. Pyramids. We used to always kind of put the pyramids, we've always talked about how there's a recipe for Pop Warner routines, and as long as you just stay with those, you know, you pretty much cover all the bases. And we used to leave pyramid kind of close to the end, but recently, because the routines, you know, the sheer energy level and the skills have gotten harder, I really think having it a little earlier in the routine is beneficial to you. And your pyramid is 15 points plus 1, right? And so many people leave pyramids till the very end. Like, and I say this as someone who has done it. We have been there, furiously trying to put together a pyramid, still trying to finish it, you know, before districts that week. Know what you want to do in your pyramid and start working it early and get that out of the way, because that's going to be their most complicated thing out of everything, right? Get that out of the way, start working the components of it so that you aren't tearing it apart and reworking it 100,000 times, and then you're not getting other things done. So I would really learn that early, because if you're spending all your time doing your tumbling and jumps, right? Tumbling, how many points is tumbling worth on the actual score sheet? 5, plus 1 for execution. Why leave something that's worth 16 points to the end and chance that it'll all go, right? Start working it from the beginning. Your stunt sequences, also 16 points. Work those, know what you're going to do, and keep working those as part of each practice. Pyramid is what kills a lot of our programs' scores, because they try to do too much or they do too little. One of the things we actually had judges say to us this last year is sometimes less is more. To max out a routine, you don't have to throw in everything in the kitchen sink. You need to look at that score sheet, what gets you into that 4 to 5 range, or what gets you into that 13 and a half and up range. What do you need to have? And build around that. Not throwing in 100 different things. Because I want you to just think for a second. What is a judge doing the whole time they're judging your routine? Ever watched them? They're looking down. It's this. And if they have to stop because they can't figure out what the heck's going on, right, they're missing stuff. That's why we've always said, use that recipe. Have a clear section. Here's the pyramid section. They know. Have the jump section. Destiny and Kelly said, don't just throw extra jumps in that aren't your jump section. That's filler. And you're just chancing, right, getting those deductions. Have a single leg sequence. That's your single legs. They know to watch. Running, tumbling, right? Put them into those categories and keep them together, right? And then they kind of know what they're looking at. Someone asked earlier the question about with the littles, if you had jumps in front and a stunt behind, okay? What you want to think about in that instance, to me, if I was a judge and I was sitting there, is, am I looking at the stunt as filler or the jumps as filler? Is the stunt back there because those are kids who don't have good jumps and I need to focus on the jumps? Or are these kids not really good at the stunt and they're just doing the jumps as filler? Okay. So you have to watch and think about what your goal is in any one part of the routine. Okay. One year we worked with a coach and she was in love with this, trying to add levels by doing this, I can't remember if it was a thigh stand or a waist stand. Anyway, it hid what was going on behind, and what was going on behind was the real skill. So, but she was like in love with it. We're like, but you can't see the part you need to see because this one actually blocks it, right? So you need to always keep in the forefront who you want in the front, right? That's what you highlight. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you need to have a good cop and a bad cop on your team. If you truly want to be competitive, you have to put the best person in that spot. Right? Not because mama's a coach, daddy's a coach, such and such is president of the board, right? If you want to be competitive and go to nationals and win and place, that is what you have to do, right? Yes, Pop Warner is a learning league, but you have two, right, paths you can go. You can go travel or you can go non-travel. You want your travel team, just like in football, they have their D2 or D1, right? Those are the players with the most skills. You want to do the same thing with your cheer program if you want to have it be successful, okay? And then you have to be chooseful. If you have someone who doesn't have a back handspring and you're level 2, but they kind of have it, don't throw it, right? Because you're chancing that, taking away from your routine execution as a whole. And surely don't put them right in front. Okay? You want to do stuff where everybody can participate and do new things? You have game days. Use those kids who are learning or not quite as skilled or who are still struggling with getting certain skills. Have them perform on game days. Right? Do the tumble line with them. Let them do the skill they can throw, not the one they think they can throw. Those are two different things. All right? But too many years we watch teams go up that have a good routine and then they throw certain things in just to have something to do with those kids. Okay? Have them back spot behind the stunt, right? There's ways to hide them where you don't have to just nugget them in the back in little rolls, right? But you need to not take away from your money, right? Your money events, and that's what happens. So they were talking earlier in the choreography about this cheat sheet. This is definitely one you want to have. It's a grid that lets you see if I have 10 participants I need 2 of them to max out my tumbling. And I don't even need 2 girls. I just need 1 who can do that skill twice and do it well. And it's maxed. I don't need to throw in extras. I don't need to throw in more, right? I can use some of that tumbling as transitions to certain things, right? But you don't want to make it so that there's so much going on that the judges can't figure out what's the point of this part, right? And we see that sometimes, okay? Same thing with jumps and motions, right? It's 50% plus 1. So at 10, that's 6. Pick your best 6. They need to be in front. The others can be behind. You can have them just move back or start moving clean to a new position. And for most of our teams, probably somewhere end up as mediums. If you have 20 kids on your team, you only need 3 stunt groups of 5 to max out with your single legs. You might have another stunt group you can put together, but if they're your weakest one, why would you do that? Okay? Don't throw a stunt together just to make another stunt group if you already have 3 solid. Use your 3 solid, right? You want them to shine. You don't want the judges to miss the beautifully executed variations of single legs here to the one who's flailing her arms and tipping back at the end. And that's what's going to be happen. That's what's going to happen, right? Because the human eye is drawn to what? Motion, right? So stay with what you need and max it out with that. When Destiny and Kelly talked about using the floor, all right, again, be strategic. If my best stunt group is going to do a full up and a twist down, I don't want to put them over in the corner out of the center of the stage, right? You want your showcase stuff to be easy to find for those judges that are looking up, down, up, down. You can use the floor in lots of other ways, right? You can have a stunt group load in, as Robin showed you, somewhere and do a moving show and go, or just do a moving smush to their position as your transition. That's using the floor, right? Using the floor in tumbling. When you're running tumbling, you can space that out, crisscross the mat. You can have 2 different groups of choreography going on. Have them then eventually meet in the middle to do whatever you're doing next. Okay. Also, jumps, don't do straight lines. Back, don't do rows like that. They don't work well. Do some kind of formation, pinballs, bowling pins, whatever. Your stunting should determine your level. For as long as I've been in Pop Warner, a lot of times you'll talk with people or coaches and say, hey, right? Courtney, what level are you going? Oh, well, you know, we only have 1 back tuck this year, so I don't know that we're gonna go level 3. Who remembers how much tumbling is worth? 5. Right, plus your 1 execution, right? Why are you letting tumbling determine what level you go? What should determine your level? Stunts, right? The stunts that you can perform and perform well. And safely. We had a lot of teams that talked about having head injuries last year. You shouldn't have head injuries. If you have head injuries, you know what problem you have? Coaching. That's a coaching problem. Right? You should always have a coach there nearby, especially if they're working a new skill, to be there as extra protection. Yes, we all use our other girls to help sometime, but at the end of the day, you're responsible. When you take the Waikata, or if your cheer director is nice and kind, please make sure you look at your cheer grid and look at what you have to max it out. It will tell you for each thing. This print is ridiculous. So for stunts difficulty, to get the 13 to 15, you have to have one of the following: prep level 2-leg stunt and below level single leg stunts, right? Quarter twist mount to below prep level single leg. But you only have to have one of those and your 3 stunt groups doing them. So pay attention to that. Cheer coordinators, especially for your new kids, your new coaches. In the binder that Robin put together, there is a really nice, what we've kind of been asking them to do for years, which is show you what the recipe is. And they have 3 or 4 different variations of this, going from opening, transition, first stunt section, right? It shows you the different categories that we've been talking about. There is also, cheer directors, a list in there for each level that shows the most common illegal things that they have happen at that level. It is worth it to take a look at that so you avoid those. So cheer directors, those are in there. Make copies. That's worth the investment. I don't care what football says. Make those copies and hand them out, because those will be beneficial tools for especially your new coaches.
Get it all?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't stress enough that Jane is correct about that binder. You cheer coordinators have that binder. All the coaches need to have access to it to see what is in the binder. Otherwise, they won't be successful. So it is very expensive to make color copies. But they need to be in color so they can see where the rule changes are too and where everything is. So that binder is so, so important. A couple things I just wanted to go over that either drive me crazy or everyone forgets. First thing is, people have a lot of questions about competition. Your tiny mites will go to our local competition, they'll go to the Princess Ball, and they will go to regionals this year because they are competitive. Your junior tinies would just be local and Princess Ball. They don't have to go to regionals. Everybody else, your mighty mites all the way up, would be locals and regionals. So is everybody clear on what you have to do so you're not surprised which competitions you have to be in? Every year I always have parents that say they didn't know. So make sure you let them know what they're committed to already as far as competitions. When you're at competition, coaches, some of you are new, some of you are not. You need to look professional. There's rules for the football coaches, so we have rules too. We need you in a shirt with your logo on it from your team, but not a t-shirt that you made and has like fringe on it and lights on it and bubble paint. It needs to be a nice professional shirt, and no jeans. Don't wear jeans. Do not wear jeans to competition. Make sure you have black pants on or nice pants on, okay? So please, when you come to competition, look professional, all right? That goes with games too. I get complaints all the time. You can't have flip-flops on the sidelines, and don't wear your shorty shorts on the sidelines. All right, make sure you look professional. Your books. We always have people forget their books when they come to competition and their ID cards. That's so silly. Make sure that you carry your book with you all the time, with your paperwork, and you have those ID cards on you. Scheduling for games. Sometimes you get a schedule and you just don't like it because you have to go really far. You can't just not cheer that week. Okay, so cheer coordinators should be able to tell you, you still have to cheer, even if you have to travel. It's so fun to travel. I used to do this, we made it into a road trip. So make it into a positive thing. If you have to travel really far for that game, that's where those girls should be going to cheer. We had a town a couple years ago, she just tailored the schedule so she was home every week. What? Oh, you have to follow your schedule, all right? Facebook, there's a Facebook page, NIPWLS Cheer and Dance Coaches. Make sure you're on it. First, I put the information out to the board. They have a separate page. Then it goes to the cheer coordinators. If you're not a cheer coordinator, that's not your page. Your page is the one that says cheer and dance coaches. I'll get the information to you, but I just give it to your coordinators like a day before. Because nothing's worse than, for a cheer coordinator, you guys that are here, you'll know, when a coach walks up to you and goes, oh yeah, did you hear about, or they tell somebody before you do. So I like the coordinators to get the information first, and then the coaches, all right? So don't get mad if you were on the wrong page and I took you off, just because I want to have everybody on the correct page. I want to stay after a little bit and talk to LaPorte about dance, and if anybody else is interested in dance, I can help you with that too. The last thing I forgot. So the junior tiny mites are so little, and I think everybody touched base on their practices. You don't have to practice 6 hours. You don't have to practice 10 hours. They are going to be in competition, right? And they're not competing, but they're going to be on the floor. You know I hate coaches being on the floor. I can't stand it. But for the junior tinies, you can sit in front of them up here on the floor. Tiny mites, you can't. Cannot go on the floor, so don't try it. All right? Just those junior ones, coaches can sit in the front and do whatever you need to do out there. So, because that's always been a problem in competition. All right? We are going to come to you to give you your certificate. So just sit tight. We're actually getting out early. Yes. So stay where you're at, unless anybody has questions. I'll ask in a second. Stay where you're at. One of my representatives is going to come to you and personally hand you, each of you, your certificates so we know that you're here and who you are. You don't have to show ID. We trust you. But we're going to hand them out to towns at a time, so stay where you're at. Does anyone have any questions on anything today? Yes? Mighty Mites go to Princess. I'm sorry, that was confusing. I probably did it backwards. So juniors, tinies, and Mighty Mites go to Princess. Yeah. Yes. Anything else question-wise? Yes. Your Mighty Mites?
I don't want
Your Mighty Mites. Hold on one second. Robin!